Good morning. I was realizing that I was showing some symptoms of getting up on the wrong side of the bed today. And so I thought, what are the things that I need in the morning to set myself up and out in the right direction so that I don't, walk through the day feeling like I got up on the wrong side of the bed. I was actually looking in the mirror, working on putting moisturizer on my face, and I was praying, God, I don't want to have a conversation with people that isn't important. That's not important for their life, important for their day, important for their week. So what would you have me to say? And I don't do this. This is just not the way I roll. So I think it's kind of a funny thing. He right away said, what are the 4 most important things you can do every morning to start your day right? So what are the 4 most important things you could do every morning to start your day right? Some might say, you need to stretch when you get up. You need to have 2 cups of coffee, not just 1. There are a lot of most important things for a lot of different people. When I was younger, I didn't think there was an important way to start my day, so I started my day the way I started my day. I grogged out of bed, grabbed a cup of coffee, and turned on the news, the TV or the radio, whatever the case. And then time passed, and it wasn't the TV or the radio anymore, it was my phone. I would scroll my phone on Instagram. But the 4 most important things that I do every morning, and I have made a habit of doing these things, and so you can form a habit in 21 days, but then it takes an additional 2 cycles of 21 days to remove the old habit and really secure that new habit. 21 days is all it takes to form a new habit, and habits are super important. If you have a habit of biting your nails, you have to choose the habit of not biting them before you can change it. You know what I mean? So you pick something different. If you have a habit of waking up to scrolling your phone, you have to break that habit, not by leaving a vacuum, but by doing something different. So the 4 most important things that I do every morning, 1 is set an alarm. Every morning, 6 out of 7 mornings, I have a scheduled time that I wake up. And I make sure that I set my alarm so that I have consistent wake-sleep cycles, and so that I don't, what I have found when I do not have an alarm or when I do not have a time to get up is I will linger. I will sleep a little later and a little later and a little later every day. And when I do that, number 1, it shortens my productivity time. It actually makes me sleepier when I get up in the morning. I'm not sure somebody can explain the science in that one. And I'm less productive. So I have to get up time, So that's the first most important thing I do. Not in order of importance, but in order of happening. It's the first thing that happens every morning. So 6 out of 7 mornings, I have a set wake time. And then that set wake time is an appropriate amount of time between when I wake and when I need to get out of the door. And for me, it's probably a little longer than it is for some people, because in them, although mornings are my best time of the day, I tend to act a little more slowly in the morning. So the second most important thing that I do when I wake up, so I wake up by the alarm, I get out of bed, make my bed, grab a cup of coffee, and the second most important thing that I do in the morning is have quiet space. So during the time when I previously would have listened to the news on the radio or watched the news on the TV. The majority of my days are now spent in a quiet space where I can choose what I ingest here and here and here. And the third most important thing that I do is what I choose to ingest quietly with a cup of coffee. I grab my Bible and I read the Word and I listen to music. And typically it can be worship music. A lot of times it's a background quiet music. And it kind of prepares my heart to hear what God has to say to me. And that is the fourth most important thing that I do every morning, and that is to hear God's voice. So the reason why I do number 1, 2, and 3 is so that I can get to number 4. Number 1, I set my alarm. I leave myself plenty of time. Number 2, I choose to have quiet. No TV, no internet, just quiet. Number 3, I read the Bible and listen to worship music, or I worship myself. And number 4 is I listen for God's still small voice. He might talk to me in a song I'm listening to. He might talk to me in a verse that I'm reading. Or he might talk to me when all that's out of the way and I just settle myself before him and hear him speak. Why is that important? Because when I don't divide my morning up and align it in the way that it needs to be aligned for an hour or for 5 minutes, time is just not the hugest issue here. When I don't do that, I step out of the house on the wrong foot. And the things that Holy Spirit would fill me with, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. The things Holy Spirit would fill me with if I had given him a minute, I'm walking out kind of as a loner on my own. And I am producing, I don't know how it happens overnight either. It happens super quick. I'm producing like grumpiness and complaining and like a cloudy outlook, and it's going to go bad, it can go bad, kind of a thing. And so I would love to hear from you. What are your 4 most important things that you do every morning? For me, everything needs to align itself so that I can have a minute to just breathe the breath of God. Just hear him. And after I hear him, I love to take a pen and paper and write down what he spoke to me. It helps me to get it into my heart, out of the atmosphere and into my heart when I speak it back to myself by writing it down. I know this was super practical this morning, but I really felt like someone needed to hear this. And maybe I really felt too like I needed to say it, Those are the 4 most important things that I do every morning. What are the 4 most important things that you do every morning? And how do the things that you choose in the morning set you straight for the day ahead of you? I would love to hear from you in the comments. So again, the things that we choose are an indication of the things that we don't choose. So if I chose to get up and have a cup of coffee while I'm scrolling Facebook, I will not have the time to have a cup of coffee while I'm talking to Jesus, while I'm listening to Jesus. And you might find it interesting that in my list, set an alarm, have quiet, the word and worship, and listen to God. I didn't put prayer. For me, just a brief explanation, prayer is oftentimes woven throughout my day. So during that quiet time, prayer is woven throughout that time. It's not a set, I put down everything else and sit with my list of things that I need to pray for. I listen to what the Holy Spirit is asking me to bring before Him in prayer. And so, yeah, if I had a list of 5, prayer would definitely be one of them, but it's not a set, I do this, 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 and this. Prayer is just woven throughout all of the other things that happen in the morning. And like I said, it could be 10 minutes or an hour. It could be 1 hour or 3, depending on what I have time for in the morning, what else is going on. But guys, this morning, going into this week, I know this was a super different video, but I'm trusting God in this because it's not something that I would typically, I like to sit down and have something with you from my Bible, and those, the foundations for those truths are in the Word. And I just felt like I really needed to put out those truths this morning. So this morning, as we go into this day, which starts off this week, think about what is most important to do every morning to get you started on the right foot, to get you headed in the right direction for the day. And for me, it is simply making space and time and room for the Lord. It's going to be a great day.